just a quick little programming tip here, guys. When you are looking to design your program, what I tend to do is, well, first of all, err on the side of caution. Like, first of all, you want to be getting the most return on investment for the minimal investment. So if you can get away with doing a little bit less, that's what I would go for first, rather than going for more. We'll talk about that another time. What I wanted to say is, think about when you're setting up your overall plan. If it's 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, whatever it is, I'm not here to judge. Obviously, there are better training splits than others, but if you are kind of having a hard time contextualizing where should I put these things, should it be on back day, leg day, what should I be doing with this? Especially, like, I was just thinking of deadlifts there. They're a common one that you see people kind of go, is this for back or is it for legs? Because obviously it works the posterior chain, the glutes, hamstrings, low back, a little bit of the quads as well, a bit of the calves as well. Obviously stresses the entire back musculature in an isometric hold, well, concentric and eccentric hold as well, contraction as well. But looking at your overall training program and thinking of what is crossing over with what. So if you are, like, for example, where do you put your back training when you're giving it in the context of leg training? If you train your back before you train legs, so say you want to train legs on Tuesday and you're going to train back on Monday, if you do that, you have to realize that perhaps your back training is going to suffer because you have trained, perhaps your leg training is going to suffer because you've trained back the day before. You've got a little bit of fatigue, a little bit of maybe muscle soreness as well, holding you back. So when you go into train legs, if you're putting a barbell on your back or doing a front squat or something like that, even holding onto the dumbbells, if you've done a lot of grip work in the back workout, your leg day is probably going to suffer as a result of that. However, if you also put legs first, you do legs on a Monday and then you do back on a Tuesday, your back workout is probably going to suffer a little bit from that as well. Again, as I said, you're going to be holding that barbell perhaps on your back, or maybe doing a front squat. Again, holding dumbbells in your hand if you're doing even a Romanian deadlift, any kind of deadlifting during your workout, lunges, anything where you're holding it, your grip is going to be compromised, and that's maybe going to detract from your back training. Not a huge concern if you maybe just use straps or something for your back training. Your grip is out of the question. But all these other little musculature that you maybe don't think about, like kind of support musculature, not the prime movers that you're thinking about. You think squat, you're thinking legs. You're not thinking, oh, actually, shit, my erectors are being fried with that. My upper back is being fried with that. My core musculature is being fried with that. Is this affecting my ability to train on these other subsequent days? So what I like to do when I'm designing my training program, when I'm designing any training program, is kind of look at the carryover. What are we doing in this workout that's going to affect the next few workouts? And this is why I kind of like a bit of phasic training, we'll say, where the goal of a training block is kind of specific. So if we're trying to work the legs, that's what I'm going to prioritize. I don't mind if, the back is going to get a little bit of carried over fatigue and I'm not able to push my back training as much as I'd like. That's perfectly fine because it's not the priority in this phase of training. The priority is legs. Vice versa, if I was going for back, the priority is back. So I don't mind if, the legs are taking a little bit of a back seat while I'm actually pushing up the poundages I'm using for back. And it applies across the board. Like, where do you put your chest and shoulder training? What about triceps, biceps? What do you do with that? Can you train calves on opposite other days than leg days? What is that going to affect your other stuff? There's all these little carryovers that kind of you forget about, but they do actually exist. So what most people try to do is be masters of everything and work on everything all at once, and that's fine, especially if you're in your first 1 to 3 years of training. Perhaps you can kind of get by with, just hitting the body with a lot of work all over the place and never really specializing, and you're bringing up your weak points. But for the majority of people, as they progress, that's just not going to be beneficial. You know, and again, this is a very generalized rule of thumb, but a lot of people aren't actually able to recover from what they think they can recover from. You know, like, yes, they may be 70% recovered from it and they may be able to push themselves hard. And yes, they are making progress. Their lifts, their poundages are actually going up slowly over time, but they're not maximizing their return on investment. They are putting in a lot of work, a lot of extra work, because they haven't actually set up their training and optimized their training so that they're not kind of getting this little bit of crosstalk, we'll call it, and they're fatiguing muscles when they probably would progress a lot faster if they'd gone, okay, cool, no, legs are my focus, I need to bring them up. So, you know, back is going to go on the back burner. You know, okay, shoulders are my focus, chest is going to go on the back burner. I'm not going to be fatiguing everything, my triceps, all that, by pounding on chest and then just going, oh, shoulders are an afterthought. Because that's what people will do. Generally, people will go, this is how they'll start their programming, whatever you want to call it, journey. They'll start on maybe 3 days. They get into the gym. They have a friend that goes, okay, cool, 3 days. You know, no real structure, but they just kind of go. Then they get a bit more structure to those 3 days. Then maybe it's 4 days they start going now because they're like, yeah, I'm actually into the gym life. Yeah, cool. Then they start, you know, Instagram, FitFam, who's on, what's the crack like, and then it's 5 days they're going, and it's like you're constantly hammering your body with resistance training because that's generally what you're exposed to on social media. You don't see people going, oh yeah, smashed PB and fucking cardio or something. You just don't see that as much, where people are like, oh yeah, new deadlift PB, you know. So it's like, okay, then it kind of goes from that 5 days to 6 days, and maybe even an active rest day for your 7th day where you're like, oh yeah, I kind of go into the gym and, you know, do a bit of arms or something, which is not really active rest, but, you know, whatever. And perhaps people are on this 6 day split where they're kind of like upper lower split 3 times a week, or what you'll see a lot of is like a push pull leg split. And people kind of forget that, okay, cool, that works, especially if you have a really, really low stress environment like a lot of these fitness Instagram people have. Like, the gym is their only thing, so they can get away with a lot more volume because they're getting a lot of sleep, they're getting a lot of recovery, they're able to eat meals at their house freshly cooked every day. And it's like, okay, cool, that's not real life. Like, we have jobs, we have college, we have work, you know, like this is not like, I don't have the recovery capacity as a result of that. So people kind of think that they see these people doing 6 days per week and they can recover from that, and they're going, yeah, okay, I'm going to do the same. But the majority of people just can't. Like, 4 days is probably going to be the most you really need to make a lot of long-term progress. Some people can get away with 5, and that's fine, you know, especially if you are, you know, managing your stressors well, or you are managing your entire training setup well. But the majority of people, they don't really consider this kind of crosstalk, and as a result, they're shortchanging themselves in a lot of areas, you know, and without thinking of it, they'll have prioritized the muscle. Say, for example, you're again doing that like push-pull legs, you know, and people are going, well, like, why are my legs shit? Like, they're not growing. And it's like, yeah, cool. So your leg training comes on a Wednesday now every week. So the middle of the week, you're kind of a bit fatigued. You pushed hard in that push session on a Monday. Your chest is one of your best muscle groups. Boom, yeah, it's great. Back is also pretty decent, you know, it's good. Then leg training comes down on a Wednesday. It's like, oh, cool, my back is a little bit fatigued, a little bit sore from that, so I'm not able to push myself hard in the leg training. Then again, you're on to chest again. Maybe you even have a little bit of an emphasis on shoulders on this workout, but it's like, okay, cool, now your shoulders are also fatigued from, again, holding that barbell and from the back work you did previously. And it's like, okay, cool, we did that, we got through it, it was grand, I still made some progress, some slight progress. Next workout, it's like back again, and then legs, and it's like you're just kind of all over the place. There's no, like, yes, that's fine if you can recover from that, if you have the training experience to really set up your training so that, you know, it's optimal recovery and progression in that kind of 6 day split. But the vast majority of people just can't. And you're going to be changing yourself if you don't actually think of these things before you set up your program. Again, you have to do this push-pull leg split. You have to do it. Cool. And you're going, I need to bring up my legs. You can switch it so that it's legs, pull, push. That's cool. Your back is probably going to be on the back burner. Maybe if you are finding that always it's Wednesday that you're having a shit workout, yeah, cool, your chest is probably going to be on the back burner too. But what people don't, or people won't do, is put things on the back burner. Yeah, it's so easy to maintain muscle. Yes, it's hard to build muscle, but it's very easy to maintain it. So people kind of forget that and go, oh no, I have to be 100% peaked all of the time. I'm not taking a single step backwards because I just don't know what will happen. And that's the real reason they don't. It's fear. They don't want to take that step back and actually make the long-term progress because they're not able to dissolve that ego and look at their training objectively and go, where am I actually falling down? Let me look at my physique. I'm trying to build muscle, for example, and you look at my physique and it's like, okay, cool. This area is not progressing. This area is not progressing. This. These are great areas. Really like the look of these. Why is that? Look at the training splits you've been doing. Look at the amount of volume you've been doing. Look at the different rep ranges you've been doing. Look at the overall training program setup, and then go compare that to what you're seeing in the mirror. And look at that through somewhat of an objective lens. You're going, okay, cool. Yeah, I always train legs midweek, and to be honest, I'm always fucking knackered with midweek. So I'm definitely not putting that full effort into that training split or into that training session. And that might be fine if the legs are on the back burner and you're just kind of like, yeah, they're just kind of ticking by, I'm not really pushing them. But if you're saying, oh yeah, I want to bring up my legs, and that's genuinely what you want to do, and then you're not actually setting up your training program to prioritize legs, again, your ego is getting in the way. So you need to kind of dissolve that, take a step back, look at what the crosstalk between these muscles go, how does my training setup actually affect the results I'm getting? Am I doing too much volume overall? Like ideally, I would like to have 72 hours between sessions that train the same muscle group. Obviously, that's almost impossible. Again, as I was saying, you train back, where do you put legs? It's like, and this is, again, why I'm saying I would rather see people do a little bit less days in the gym and focus a bit more during their sessions and really maximize their sessions. But that's a discussion for another time.